Welcome to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. So grab a cup of coffee and relax, and join me as we gain insights into a soul. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Insights into a Soul. We are on episode 10, folks. We made it. I guess it's a milestone. So yeah, we are here, episode 10. Wasn't going to record a podcast this week. I actually got to the point where I kind of debated it and then realized, you know what? The whole point of this podcast is just to be authentic and be open. So decided to go ahead and record an episode. Got a lot of stuff that's been on my mind. A lot of things going on. So it might be a quicker episode today. Yeah, I mean, you know, the podcast, the point of this is to be authentic and genuine, right? And to be completely honest, I've been struggling lately. I've been struggling for the past couple weeks on and off. Last week I went to Guatemala, and it was good because it got me out of the normal routine. And I went with my company on a mission trip, or as we call them, vision trips. And we went to some different churches and hope centers that we have been a part of there. And got to see a lot of kids, go to these villages up in the mountains, and just visit people. And it was great because I went to do photography and a little bit of video. But even in doing that, you know, though you're still kind of removed, you're still in the moment. And it was some really cool perspective on just the world that they live in. The things that are a big deal to them, you know, what you think is a big deal is not really a big deal. You know, we have so much here in America, and there they don't have a whole lot. Now, the thing is, they are content to an extent. Like, they don't know any different. They don't know anything other than the life they live. So it's not like they long for more necessarily, but it doesn't mean that we can't help to improve the quality of life for them. You know, clean water, education, and things like that. Just help give them opportunities to, you know, get out of the cycle of being in the village for their entire life and their generational, just give them the option to have opportunity like in America. And that's what struck me the most, I think, was going there and, you know, seeing the kids, because I've got two daughters, and my youngest looks like a lot of the kids that are there. And so it really hit me. The last day we went to visit this girl's house, and it's for abused girls and just girls that come from different circumstances. And there's only like 10, 12 girls there. But they go to school there, they live there, and they get an opportunity to become something other than just a mother or just living in a village. They have the opportunity to learn graphic design, fashion design, to be business owners, to dream and dream big and achieve those dreams. And I think that's what hit me, is that, like, we're in this place and there's this small sampling of, 12 girls from like 11 to 18. And this is just 12 people that have an opportunity now. And, these girls have to fight for this opportunity. They have to apply and get money, and it costs them money to go because there's tuition and stuff. And then, I think about my daughters and how, I guess you'd say, fortunate my daughters are, that they don't have to fight for opportunity. They're fortunate and they're blessed that they have any opportunity they want, any opportunity that's in front of them. Now, obviously, there's still challenges and things that they have to overcome as they grow up, but it's not a question of whether or not they can get an education. If my daughters want to become psychologists, if they want to become artists, if they want to become, video producers, whatever they want to do, they're able to go for those goals and have a very strong chance of achieving the success that they want. So that was just some really cool perspective, and it allowed me to detach from what's going on at home and my situation and everything, which is by no means bad. But, I get home, and then I was sick for a week. I had a stomach bug. Thanks, Guatemala. Everybody on the trip got sick, and I got stomach bug plus an ear infection. So last week was the flu and everybody avoiding getting sick and all this other stuff. So, this week's kind of back to normal. And like today, it just really hit me. I had a really interesting conversation with my ex the other day. We've had great conversations, kind of working through a lot of things, a lot of apologies for being the way that we were in the past, or that we acted, because we've both been, growing, seeing parts of ourselves that we didn't see before, realizing things are different than what we thought they were. And so just having some real honest conversations. And I was very honest with her, like, as I've said in other podcasts, I don't think we would ever try again. I don't think she wants to. I haven't straight out asked her, and I don't think I will. But just because of some stuff that happened in the past, I don't think there's another opportunity for us to try again. I think we're beyond that point. And so, I told her, I just confessed to her. I was like, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I miss you. I really do. And 13 years together, we had a lot of great times. I think we had more good than bad. But I think, I told her I miss her. I still love her. That's not something that just goes away. And, in doing that, I told her, I said, I wondered if we could have survived, if we could have made it, if we had both found the help that we're finding now while we were still married, like while we were still together before we had separated. And obviously it's a what if, and it's not always great to live in what ifs, but it is good to be contemplative and look back and think about things. It's thoughts that you have, and you need to talk through these things sometimes, Fortunately for me, my ex is very willing to talk through things. Obviously, if it's in like a civil way and it's not like an emotional way, like me dumping on her emotionally. I think if we, as long as we talk in that way that we're talking, I think it's good. I don't know. So I don't know. And I was just honest with her, and I told her that, and she didn't respond. And I apologized. I was like, I'm sorry. If that's too much, let me know. Because, I don't want to be too emotional. And she's like, no, it's fine. It's just that, it's not that she didn't want to respond. She just genuinely didn't know how to respond. She didn't know what to say. And I think maybe it's something that she hadn't thought about. And yeah, so, anytime I have big conversations with her, a couple days after, I get down. I get emotional. I think a lot about myself and my situation, and I'm kind of reminded of what's going on. Sometimes, although we haven't been separated for that long, it still feels like a long time. And the way I described it to my friend, I was talking to a couple of them today, and I feel like just recently, it's starting to hit me, the reality of the separation, the reality of the pending divorce, because now I'm looking at taxes for the next year because she's got the kids and I'm filing single. There's all these things that come into it, and now I got to figure out my taxes and that, and start setting aside more money because I don't have dependents anymore that, live with me because they live with her. And those things kind of happen and remind me of the situation that I'm in. They remind me of the reality that I'm facing, the brutal honesty of my life right now. And, I joke about things, because sometimes joking is a way for me to cope, and my therapist frowned upon that before. I'm no longer with that therapist. That's another podcast, another episode. But I think there's power in humor. There really is. It's a way for us to say the things that we feel deep inside, and it's a way for us to get them out. Because, with humor, there's an air of honesty to humor, especially with people that are depressed or struggling. So, I had to remind myself, it's okay to grieve. Now, I think I might have said this before. It's okay to hurt. Hurting is human. Hurting means you're still alive. But just for me, it's like, it's been extra painful because, I think I've discussed it before. If not, when you go through a separation, especially like this, like there's no clear pattern for grieving. There's no clear pattern for how you're supposed to heal, how you're supposed to work through things. It comes in waves, and those waves don't make sense. There's you can be somewhere and something will trigger, a memory or a thought and cause you to go into sadness and despair and depression. I struggled bad with depression for a while. Really dark thoughts in a dark place. And fortunately, I don't struggle with that anymore. I still get depressed, but it's not near the extent that it was. But, those things will happen and you never know when they'll happen. And especially when there's a lot of stress going on with work or anything else that's going on out there, financial stuff, trying to figure things out, which I think finances, I'm going to make an episode of that. I've had some people request that topic. And man, I'll tell you what, when you separate, finances are something people don't think about. It'll mess you up if you don't start thinking through those things. I think it's the one thing people don't tell you about is the financial side of it, which is a whole nother episode, a whole nother topic. But back to the topic at hand, it's okay to grieve. Something happened the other day and my friend was really, she started crying about something and, and it might not be a big deal to somebody else, but it was a big deal to her. And that's all that matters. It was a big deal to that person. Something happened with somebody else and they just started crying and they were apologizing for crying. They were apologizing. Like, I'm sorry that I'm crying. I'm like, don't be sorry. It's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, you're upset. Even if it doesn't rationally make sense to somebody else, it doesn't matter. It matters to you. It matters. That relationship, that friendship, that situation matters to you and your world alone. And you're the only one that has to answer to yourself. You don't have to answer to anybody else when it's something personal, when it's something like that affects you. Like, somebody might do something or say something that causes you to cry. Don't apologize for being upset or sad. If someone treats you a certain way, and I think I posted that on my social afterwards, like, it's okay to feel. It's okay to be human. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have a moment where you're hurting, go ahead and cry. I think this is the big message of this whole thing. It's something I've been learning is you've got to give yourself permission to feel. You've got to give yourself permission to cry, to mourn. Give yourself permission to not be okay. Because we have those times. And so for me, like, that's what I've had to do is, like, I'm sad and I'm hurting right now. And I had to give myself permission to say, hey, it's okay. You're going through some crap right now. You're going through a rough time that not everyone's experienced and not everyone's going to understand. And that's fine. You don't have to answer to anyone else. As long as you're not hurting anyone else or it's having an adverse effect on things, it's okay. Hurt. Grieve. Be sad. Crying. We live in this society where men aren't supposed to cry. Men aren't supposed to be sad. We're supposed to be tough and we suck it up and we figure it out and work through it. But the reality of it is, be in touch with your emotions. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. And it doesn't have to be a deep, traumatic, painful experience like a divorce. It doesn't have to be anything like that, a separation, a breakup. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can just be someone was an asshole to you and it just caught you at the wrong time, or they made you feel devalued and you were sad. And that's okay because you're human. You're valuable. And I know for me, like, when I question my self-worth, or I feel like someone is questioning my self-worth, it hurts. It stings. And it's hard sometimes. Like, you have these thoughts and these questions like, am I not good enough? Like, why do they treat me this way? Or why are they saying those things about me? And they might have no malicious intent whatsoever about you or about the situation. because they might not even think about what you're thinking about. Like, I can guarantee you, the thoughts you have in your mind never cross the other person's mind. You know, I've learned that even in just relationships I've been in and studying it in psychology and stuff. But just like in this breakup with my ex-wife now is there's things I've said where she didn't even think about it. And it doesn't make it right or wrong. It doesn't make anybody a bad person. Like, she just didn't think about certain aspects of things involving me because it's just not the way she's wired. She doesn't think that way. And so take that into account. Now, again, it doesn't mean don't be sad, don't be upset, don't be hurt. We just got to remind ourselves that our self-worth and our self-value isn't found in other people and their approval. And I say that, I'm speaking to myself because, man, I still live for the approval of other people, man. I want to be wanted. I want to be needed by someone. You know, I want to be something to someone. I want to make a difference. And I want to feel like I'm making a difference. And there's times when, you know, even in the 10 episodes that I've done, I've felt like, why am I doing this? What's the point? What's the point of pushing on and doing a podcast? And I've thought about giving everything up. I mean, this past weekend, I thought about just giving this all up and not doing it. Now, man, it's a struggle to come up with content, blah, 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 and all the excuses in the world. And I'm sad, and I'm depressed, and I'm hurting right now, and I'm alone. And I think that's the other thing, too, is like for the first time, I'm really understanding and feeling my aloneness. Like, I'm really starting to understand what being alone means and the fear that comes with it. The uncertainty, the not knowing what the future holds, and it's scary as hell. You know, I don't know what the future looks like, and so it's. I've had to tell myself it's okay to not be okay right now. You know, I've given myself permission to not be okay. You know, remember, you don't owe the world anything, and nothing says that you need to do X right now. Nothing says that you need to do this right now, this podcast. Nothing says you need to do this right now. There's no standard, there's no rule, there's no law that says you have to, you know, find a new job right now or go for that right now or do a podcast or whatever. I mean, you know, whatever it is, that's all on you. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe the world anything. Just be you. Be authentically you. Be unashamedly you. And just tell yourself, it's okay to not be okay. Sometimes we just have to slow down and take a break or step back a few steps. You know, we move forward so quickly in today's society that we often forget to stop and slow down and step back. Sometimes you might take 5 steps forward. You might need to take 2 steps back or 3 or 4 because you were moving so fast you missed something important. So it's okay, you know, to stop and to smell the roses. I'll say that's one thing that my wife taught me when we were together was it's okay to stop and smell the roses. In the figurative and the literal sense, she loved flowers. And flowers were pretty to me, but I never thought anything more of that. But she had this love of flowers that she would stop wherever we were and smell the flowers. And she knew all the different flowers and the scents. And, you know, whether it's at a store, she would stop and smell the flowers. Whether we were at a park or just out somewhere, if there were flowers, she would stop and smell them and enjoy the fragrance. And it got to me over time and taught me that I need to stop and smell the roses. Stop and smell the flowers. You know, I found myself doing that. Like, I'll be on trips and stuff, and I'll stop somewhere. I'll be at a park or something, and I'll stop and smell the flowers that are there. And I'll just take a moment and just enjoy the moment and enjoy nature. And I guess that's the big thing. That's the big thought is enjoy the moment. Enjoy where you are. Because where you are, you're never going to be there again. We're always moving forward. So enjoy the moment. Enjoy where you are. Don't be moving so fast that you miss out on everything. I know I'm giving like a couple messages here. Like, the big message today is give yourself permission to not be okay. But then also give yourself permission to stop and smell the roses. Stop and enjoy where you are. Enjoy the moment. You might hurt right now, but enjoy that place. Enjoy the hurt. Look for the positive, because I guarantee you there's more positive than negative. But we only see the negative because that's the stuff that makes us feel the most sometimes. That knife in our chest, that knife through the heart, that's going to make you feel a lot more than a gentle hand on the shoulder. But at the end of the day, you're going to remember the gentle hand on the shoulder, the smile of a friend. You're going to remember that over the hurt, over the pain, over everything else. If you choose to, if you let yourself not be hindered, not be set back, and to enjoy the moment. So in this moment of pain and this hurt, I've had to step back and I've had to look and enjoy where I'm at. I'm alone right now. It sucks. It's quiet. It's empty feeling some days. Some days I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this house. There's so many memories, but then I remember the good. I'm enjoying the alone time. Time for me to focus on me, to do what I want when I want, to come home and make beef stew from scratch because I can, to go to a movie after work because I can. And then those times when I have my daughters, I enjoy them even more. Those times are so much sweeter with my kids because they are excited to be with me and I'm excited to be with them. And I know that I have to make these memories and cherish these memories even more. One of my coworkers recently, he discovered that he has some heart issues. And when that happens, like, he went to the doctor and his blood pressure was like insane. Like, he should have been in the hospital. And he didn't know this. And in that moment, you don't care about what work they do or what they can do. You don't care about what projects are on the table. You only care about that person. And wanting them to be the best they can be and the healthiest they can be. Because in those moments you realize how much you appreciate those people in your life. And don't forget that. Don't, again, stop and enjoy where you are. If you're listening to this podcast, when you finish it, go hug someone you love. That's my challenge to you this week. My challenge to you this podcast is when you finish listening to this, go hug someone. Go tell someone you love them or you appreciate them. Go send a text message and tell a friend how much you appreciate their friendship and what they've done for you, that, you know, your life wouldn't be the same without them, that your life is better because of them. There's so much other stuff I could get into on this podcast about, you know, me trying to cater to people and be loved by people and etc. That's a whole nother topic for another episode. But this episode is just, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to hurt. As long as we don't get lost in that darkness, as long as we don't get lost in those times, make sure you keep those friends around you and those loved ones that can pull you out of that darkness, that can be a gauge and say, okay, you're hurting. You need to come out of that right now. Like, we're going to pull you out of this, man. I'm here. I'm going to hold you. We're going to get through this. Because if we try to navigate ourselves, we'll get lost. But if we navigate it with friends and with guidance, whether it's a higher power, spirituality, friends, you can make it through. You can find the light. You can find the other end of the tunnel. And so I'll wrap it up with this. Just like I said, give yourself permission to not be okay. Give yourself permission to be okay. Give yourself permission to say, you know what? I'm going to be okay. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to enjoy my life. I'm allowed to enjoy this moment. As long as it's not hurting anybody else or yourself, you're allowed to enjoy this moment. You don't owe the world anything. Nothing says you need to do something right now because of the obligations, unless it's your job, obviously. There's nothing that says that you have to do it right this second. So it's okay to be okay, to give yourself permission to be okay, to give yourself permission to step back and just enjoy the moment and find that strength and just say, you know what? I'm okay. I am okay. Things are going to be okay. Just recently I bought this thing that I'm going to hang, this quote I'm going to hang above my mantle. I'm getting this kick about positivity and speaking positive thoughts and these good quotes, which is another podcast, another topic coming for another time. But it's a quote by Maya Angelou, and it says, "No matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life does go on, and it will be better tomorrow." So just remember that. And no matter how bad things look today, life's going to go on, and it'll be better tomorrow. My heart's been broken, and it sounds cliche, but it's only up from here. I can't, I'm not going to have to face the heartbreak of separating from my wife again. I'm going to be reminded of it. Those scars are there. The wounds are there, but you're not going to have to go through that pain again, necessarily. I mean, obviously, you get into a different relationship, and it's a whole other topic. But I don't have to go, tomorrow's going to be better. Today was a rough day at work for me emotionally. Nobody's fault. Just my mood and all the stuff that's been swirling in my brain. And tomorrow's going to be better. Because I'm going to choose to make it better. I'm going to choose to make my life better. I'm going to choose to be the best version of myself in my personal life and my work life. And you can do the same. Remember, you're not a bad person. It's okay. Because you feel like shit today, it's okay. You're not a bad person. You might have done things that other people see as bad or it wasn't the right decision, but you're not a bad person. That doesn't define you. You're defined by how you react and how you move on and how you grow. Because again, I'm the type of person, and I think a lot of people are this way, they're going to remember the good more than they remember the bad. They're going to remember the way that you got up off the ground and fought. You look at boxers and you look at people like that, they remember the wins. They don't always remember how many times you fell down. What they talk about after a fight is how many times that person got up. You might still lose the fight, but if you get up after you've been knocked down and you continue to get up until you can't get up anymore, what do they say? They say, that guy's got heart. That person's got heart. So have heart. It's okay to not be okay. And tomorrow will be better. You're not a bad person. Keep fighting. Keep grieving. Keep living. Keep feeling. Keep loving. Get your ass up and press on. Thanks for joining me on this episode. Episode 10. It's moving along. A lot of positive feedback still. Got a lot of guests lined up, and I'm really excited about some of these topics that are going to be coming with these guests. Just excited to share their souls with you, and people that want to bear their souls, people that want to tell their story. It's so exciting when people get excited about story. I love story. I love telling stories. I love telling people's stories because you see how messed up everyone is, and that not everyone has it all together, but people find the strength and the courage to move on and to be better. And that's what we're going to do together. We're going to continue on this journey together. It's a journey of life. We're going to continue to be better and help each other be better and lift each other up. So, hey, I believe in you. I know you can do it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Please go on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Leave a review. Whether you just give 5 stars or leave a comment as well. All is appreciated. It helps get the word out there and spread the word. Please share the podcast with friends and family. If you like what I'm doing, drop me an email, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram @TornH. And now, insightsintoasoul.com is live. Check it out. Going to be starting some blogging on there. So lots of stuff. Make sure, again, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all of your support and all of you willing to share your stories, and I look forward to continuing this journey with all of you. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, see ya. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insights into a Soul. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Insights into a Soul, on Instagram @TornH, and if you have suggestions for future episodes or topics, or if you'd like to be on the podcast, contact us, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com.